Well, hey there, folks. Welcome to The Roundup. We are a Cowboy State Daily podcast, and we focus on really interesting people in the Cowboy State. And our guest today, he and his family have embodied the spirit of the Cowboy State, and his family's legacy is still making memories for tourists who come to Wyoming even today. So we'll get to that in just a minute, though. First, I want to make sure that you know about another really great podcast that's based on the business of Wyoming, and it's called the Business from the Basement podcast. It's put out there by the Wyoming Business Alliance. So make sure to check that out if you're a business person in Wyoming. It's full of great information and people and connections. But that's what the Roundup is about too, is great people and connections. So we don't want you to go there before you stick around and hear this conversation with Steve Moulton. If anybody's been to Jackson, hello, and if anybody's seen that iconic picture of the old barn in front of the Tetons, that's the Molton Ranch. That is Steve's family, and he is going to tell us about that today. Steve and his wife, Candy, their lives are devoted to keeping the history of Wyoming alive, whether it's through films and productions and wagon rides, or whether it's going to the Grand Encampment, which is coming up here yet in July, and keeping those traditions alive as well. So, Steve Moulton, we are so glad to have you on the Roundup today. How are you?
I'm good, Wendy. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Steve, you and your family have just made so many memories without people even really realizing that it's you and your family. But yet, Steve, you're out there still doing all the things in the old ways. And I just love that. Tell us a little bit about what your day-to-day life is like right now before we get into the Molten Barns and the history of that.
Well, I am now retired from, I worked 20 plus years. The last years I was working 20 plus years on ranch here locally in Encampment, full time on the ranch, but I did have done other things. So right now, I'm still building some furniture. That I enjoy building. And then at the moment, my wife has got a big film project, and so every the last few days and for the next few days and week, we're going to be working on that project about history of Wyoming.
That's great. And of course, your wife, Candy Moulton, is in charge of our American West series at Cowboy State Daily. And I had lots of conversations with Candy, and she's just so accomplished in that way. I love the fact that you guys work on these things together. But Steve, what she's doing is preserving it, and what you're doing and have done for so long is preserving it in a different way. Like, for example, putting together the Grand Encampment that is an annual event that is happening this year, this month actually. Tell us about the importance of the Grand Encampment gatherings that you've done
Uh,
over the last few years.
yes, some years ago, I think this is the 22nd year, I'm not sure exactly, but Candy and I were both, you might say, founding members of the Grand Encampment Cowboy Gathering. And there had been a gathering in Rawlins, and for whatever reason, they decided to shut it down, and we moved it to Encampment. And we bring some of the top musicians, Western genre musicians, cowboy poets, and we've really had some great people here over the years. This year, we're going to have John Chandler from Denver. John's a great musician. He's got that really great deep voice that people just love, and he's got a side man that plays every instrument that you can imagine. And if I could play like him, oh man, I'd just love it. But I've participated too I played in the gathering, not for a few years, but it that genre of music just is something that I love. I love to listen to, and it's been fun to get to know these great musicians of that genre.
Now, Steve, though, you have yourself won awards for cowboy music. In fact, we have that in common because I have been the recipient of a Wrangler Award from the Western Heritage Association. It was just this year for my podcast, this podcast. You, though, received one of these amazing bronzes and awards for your music back in 2010. Tell us about that.
Well, that was, I don't know, maybe kind of a fluke. I don't know. My wife's my wife has entered the the that awards program many times. She has been a judge in it many times. And we had actually gone to the Western Heritage Awards prior to that, so I kind of knew what it was. And she said, in 2010, I recorded an album. There was only one song on the album that was I wrote. The rest were covers. But she said, you know, you should enter your album in the Western Heritage Awards. She was also entering something that year. And I said, I don't know if I don't think I could ever do well there. But we went ahead and I filled out the form and sent it in. And I was working down at the ranch one day, and she called me and said, there was somebody from the Western Heritage Awards that called, and they won't tell me what they want, but they only want to talk to you. So I got the cows fed and went home and called them, and sure enough, I had won a Western Heritage Award. So and it's a wonderful event, as you
It
know.
is.
They
Yes.
treat people very well. It was so much fun. Michael Martin Murphy awarded me my award. And the musicians have to get up on stage, or they did then, and
Yeah.
sing to the crowd.
Yes. Still do.
I had never sang in front of 1,000 people before. So I was just a country boy like me. I was nervous. I got out on stage and I sang the Master's Call. And you
Oh,
certainly know that song.
yep.
First song I ever learned, The Master's Call.
Wow.
And just as I walked out on stage, Tom Selleck was sitting down right in front of me, the first table in front of me. So that even made things worse, you know. But I got it through it well, and I think I did okay. And it was a great experience.
That's fantastic. It is. It's an amazing experience, and I'm so thrilled to be able to share that experience with you and to have you share that with us as the audience here on the Roundup. The music for you is again one of the ways that you keep the old traditions alive. You also do that through your woodworking and your furniture building because the tools that you so many of the tools that you use are actually your grandfather's tools. Tell us about your
Correct.
woodworking business and your furniture building business.
I've always liked to build, create. My grandfather in Jackson Hole on my mother's side was a carpenter cabinet maker, and that's probably where I get that gene. I don't know. And some years ago, I was able to get some of his equipment. And since the mid 90s, I've been building, and only in my spare time, furniture for, we've got a local dude ranch here that I've built furniture almost every winter for. They've kept me busy, and I've greatly appreciated that. And I've had other good clients over the years, some in Cody that I've built a lot of stuff for and have enjoyed working for them. Um, Growing up in Cody, as you know, you see the Molesworth style.
Yes.
And so that always interests me. And I wasn't able to do much till in the 90s when I was got to where I could build my own shop, and that's kind of where I started, was in that style of furniture. In Cody there's some great furniture builders there
Yes,
still
there
that are
are.
doing
Yes.
wonderful things, and it's fun to see their stuff. And so I've kind of continued with that basic ranch furniture, mountain furniture type over the years, and it's it. I'm one of those people who can't sit in the house and watch TV. I don't watch sports. So I've got to have something to keep my hands busy. So I go out in the shop and just create whatever.
That's awesome. I want to switch over here real quickly. This is a great place to segue because you're using your grandfather's tools, and your grandfather was T.A. Moulton.
Okay, the furniture or the tools I'm using is my woodward grandfather, my mother's
Oh, very
grandfather.
good.
The okay, T.A. Moulton um, is my father's dad, and
Right.
the Moultons came from England. They joined the Mormon Church in England and came with the handcart companies,
Wow.
and they were in the Willie handcart company that got stranded on South Pass. You know,
Ooh.
many of those people didn't make it. They died. There was seven people, seven kids in the Moulton family, two adults, seven kids. My great grandfather was born about 2 or 3 days out of Liverpool on the ship. And he
Wow.
was the only infant that survived that entire trek to Salt Lake. Uh, they had seven kids, so they had two hand carts. I don't know if that was a blessing or a curse, but they made it. They ended up in Heber City, Utah, where they raised their families, and then my great grandfather took when he had his family, he took them to Idaho,
Okay.
and he took a homestead, I guess, in Idaho. But my grandfather then, as a young man, rode his horse into Jackson Hole and took a homestead in the shadow of the Tetons.
Oh my
And there
goodness.
he built the barn that everybody
The
is.
barn.
uh, You got to know there's two of them.
Right.
The TA barn has the steep, pitched roof. The John Moulton barn, which was his brother, had the gambrel style roof. But it's so interesting to go over there. You can go before daylight in the morning in the summer, and people just flock in there to take pictures of that barn. And it was used as a cover for Saturday Evening Post
You
back
were
in.
in that. You were in that
Well,
illustration,
I don't know. Um, the illustrator said in a caption inside that he saw three children playing in the barnyard and when he took a photo, and then he illustrated it, and the three kids probably would have been my sister and my brother and I.
which is
So
so
I
great.
I don't know, but anyway, it's been a it's been a fun thing for the family to know what has gone on over there, and uh, all the people that dearly love to go there and photograph it. Um, it was hard.
You and Candy were instrumental in preserving that,
Yes, back in the 90s, um, it was caving in. The north lean-to was caving in, and I don't know how she did it, but she's pretty tenacious,
she
and
is.
she got permission from the Park Service to let the family go in and rebuild that roof on that north lean-to. And then we did some other work then next summer also. But they asked her, well, how are these people that are going to work on this barn, are they qualified? And she said, two of those people that built the barn, my dad, his brother, will be on that roof. And other Moore Monroe descendants who are contractors will be on that roof. I think we're qualified. So they let us rebuild it, and the Park Service has done a lot too, and we appreciate that to keep it stable so it won't fall over, and so it was gratification to be able to work on the barn.
Absolutely. And again, a lot of red tape that Candy was able to cut through and to
Yes,
make it
yes.
happen.
Working for the Park Service is not easy.
Yeah. Well, we're all so grateful that that landmark is still there. It's still such an iconic image for anybody who comes to the Jackson Hole area. They want to drive out that country road and they want to stop there and they want to take that picture. I've done it.
Yeah.
Take
Oh,
that picture with that barn.
I,
Go ahead.
I wrote a song called "The Icon of Jackson Hole," and it's about the family barn, of course.
Of course. That's so wonderful. Your family, though, has really touched Wyoming history in other ways too. You've got a connection to the iconic horse Steamboat. Tell us about that.
My great grandfather on my mother's side, Guy Holt, rode Steamboat in 1903 at Cheyenne and won Cheyenne that year on Steamboat. He also rode the horse in Laramie that year.
Wow.
Um, and he got bucked off, but there was a picture taken of him by B.C. Buffum, who was a University of Wyoming professor. And the picture just, laid in the files for a few years. I don't know how long, but when they were developing the Cowboy logo for the University of Wyoming, they used that photograph
Wow.
to develop the logo. And we know that because Candy, when she and my mother wrote a book about Steamboat and the
Yes.
writers, and when she was researching, she found in the UW records that fact. My grandfather had to sign a release to let them use that picture.
My goodness. So every time we see the logo, we see our license plates, we see UW's bucking, steamboat. Yeah, it's your grandfather.
Well, uh, we don't claim the license plate. Um, a lot of people do claim it. We've never said, "Oh, it is Guy Holt" or "it isn't." We've never claimed it, but maybe it's. We've always said it's a composite of a lot of different writers, but it's certainly Steamboat.
That is just the coolest. We love hearing stories like that. Again, you're keeping that alive. You're keeping that in your life, in your family. You're really the embodiment of this iconic history of Wyoming. What is it, Steve, that is so important to you to keep this culture, this cowboy culture, in the minds of people who live here, but also those who visit?
Well, Wyoming is the cowboy state.
It is.
We claim it.
Yes, yes.
So just just growing up in the state, both my wife and I, Wyoming natives, we love that culture and we love to hear those stories. And somebody has to keep those stories alive. So I guess this is how we do it. We talk about it. And my wife is executive director of the Wyoming Cowboy Hall of Fame. And all those stories are coming to life with all those old cowboys, and they're great to listen to.
They are. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. Now, when we talk about the Grand Encampment and the cowboy gatherings and things like that, we have all of the elements here, including Dutch oven cooking and things like that. How many people, I mean, is the gathering growing? It
Um,
continues?
I won't say it's really growing. It's stayed pretty consistent over the entire life of it. Encampment is a small town. There isn't a lot of places for people to stay, so you're sometimes limited by hotel rooms. But we do have a good turnout. A lot of northern Colorado people, Cheyenne people, come and join us, and it's just been a lot of fun over the years to bring that to the people.
So now you're going to miss out this year, which is the first time since it started probably that you two are not going to be able to be there. But you've got other important things that you're working on for you, that you've got going on.
Yes, we've been to every one of them, or I have anyway, since it began. Uh, but this year, a family event came to pass in Jackson, so I thought I needed to go up there. They want me to sing a couple songs, a couple of the songs that I've written uh, at their event. So I'm going to go see them and see some of my family members.
Some of the is and this is the Moulton family or the Woodward family or
No, my mother's side of the family.
okay. So, but also with a rich history there, obviously. So that's you've got the connections more than just the Moulton name. Your whole family has these amazing ties to Wyoming.
Um, yes, my mother's family came across Wyoming in a wagon. They went clear to, I think, Oregon, and just they did. It rained too much. They came
Okay.
back to Wyoming and ended up in Jackson Hole. They took a homestead in Jackson Hole also. So both sides of the family just goes way back to those times.
What are your thoughts, Steve, as we kind of wrap up here? What are your thoughts about how much tourism has changed the area that you grew up in? I mean, you grew up in Cody, but your family's got the Jackson connections. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's sometimes hard to see. Jackson has grown to be a place that the normal person it struggles to live there because of the cost of living. It's fun to go back. Every time we go back, we go out to the barn and just look, see how it's doing, check up on it. Um, and then Cody. Cody was a great place to grow up. Uh, the homestead was sold in 1960 in
Okay.
Jackson. Then my folks had a year to get out and find something else. And in 61, we moved to Cody. So I spent most of my young life there. Started first grade there and graduated high school. But Cody has grown. We were on the South Fork. I remember when we could drive up the South Fork and name almost everybody under every yard light. Not so
Can't do that
anymore.
now. No, you can't.
But Cody was a great place to grow up. There's so much to do there, and it was a great place.
It is a great place. It is a great place. Just one more bit of history. When the T.A. Moulton, so when your grandfather sold the place in the 60s, your uncle stayed. And so John Moulton, that family stayed there, right?
Well, two things there. The John Moulton family, that was TA's brother, my dad's uncle. Um, he actually sold earlier in 57 or 8, I can't remember which, but he took a lifetime lease and he fooled him. He lived to be 103. So that side of the family was able to stay on that other homestead for quite some time. I think it was maybe early 90s when they had to get off. But I thought that was great when he lived to be 103. And then my dad's brother, um, Clark, um, when he was married, they gave him an acre in the corner of the homestead.
Oh,
And
wow.
when they sold the homestead, he kept that acre. So continued to live there, and he passed that down to his uh, daughter, and then his grandson had it. And a few years ago, they decided they had had enough. They were living in a fishbowl. There was
Yeah.
so many people around, and they decided to give it up. And uh, the park foundation bought
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah, which was the best thing. And now the foundation has turned it over to the park, so it's all a part of the park now.
My goodness. What deep roots you and your family have in this amazing state of Wyoming. And everywhere you look, there's reminders of your family, whether it's your mom's side or your dad's side. This is your home, and you and Candy are living and preserving that, and we're grateful to you for that. Thank you, Steve, for all that you and Candy have done to really elevate the history and keep that in the front of our minds as we all live and enjoy this place.
Well, you're welcome, and it's been nothing but joy to do so.
Well, good for you. Steve, thank you for your time today. Thank you for the podcast and for this interview. Folks, thank you for your time today, for listening to just a little bit and a deeper dive into the people and the places that we call home and the history of these things that you didn't know, I bet, until today. So we're glad that you came along with us for this conversation. Steve, thank you. Folks, have yourselves a great week, and don't forget to tune in next week. We're going to have another great guest. In fact, it's going to be somebody that I bet you'll know who it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week.